What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Doc here, coming back here at you live. Poolside Doc. Aha, I'm in. J.A. Gotti. What's up, boyo? The Professor John Gotti, the King of RNG, the Troll Masters, the Data Analyst Ninja, the conqueror of his own fate. That's right. Get your brooms. Actually, get your swimming pool little cleaners, because this guy is the cleaner, the newly formed Terminator, J.A. Gotti. I had to stretch it because I feel like I haven't done it in so many days. So many days. Did you hear the conqueror?
I mean, that sounds more of a hype problem.
So it's just been built up hype.
But yes, you're right. It's the notorious John Gotti. And that guy over there is, like we always like to say, the bored man gets paid.
Shout out to Oregon.
And I am the best podcasting machine. We are always tranquilo, Doc Elidelo. Are you hype?
Super hype.
No, I said, are you hype?
Yes,
you was hoping I was going to go all Triple H with that.
I thought you were. I thought you were going to get some water and spit it in the air and everything.
No, I'm not going to do that.
Really quickly.
I don't want to make a mess.
I understand. Really quickly, speaking of water, just a quick rant really quickly for all those people who live in apartment or condo or townhome community living. When the pool area says no glass, please don't bring glass to the pool area, especially for those who can't hold on to that said glass.
I see what you did there.
Breaking glass, Stone Cold Steve Austin style. And now I'm looking at...
No. Breaking glass that'll make a rattlesnake weep in sadness.
It is sad. Looking at this pool drained with just the cleaning tools, which is why it made me think, because I'm looking at the pool and there's just a little spigot of water at the bottom of it. It's really, really sad. But yes, keep the glass away from the pool, ladies and gentlemen. Don't be that person. But we got a lot of NFL news. Obviously, people are coming down. We mentioned some of the free agents yesterday. I think the names that we mentioned were pretty much the big ones, but I feel like at this particular point, teams wanted to evaluate who they had. So we won't go over that list. Let's keep monitoring them after this week to see if those dominoes fall. But what I wanted to start with were notable players per Greg Rosenthal.
Okay.
Notable players that could be traded or cut based on their salary, based on their performance. I wanted to get your take on some of the players that they're saying could be traded. All right. You let me know.
Okay.
Here we go. The Dallas Cowboys are going to trade or cut Jalen Smith.
I can see them doing that. The problem isn't so much that he's a bad player. He's a really, really good player.
Right. Anybody will pick up.
They allowed him to get his ego inflated so much that he thinks he's owed more than he's actually worth.
Sure.
Like, he hasn't performed up to the standards of being like a top 5 paid linebacker in the NFL.
Which I think he currently is, isn't he?
Yeah, he's one of the highest paid players on the team. Yeah.
Which I don't blame him. He had great potential, but at the end of the day, it's like...
Again, having great potential, but it ended up being in like the bottom half of defense in the league is...
Right. And granted, they did have a whole bunch of injuries last year, but also they did switch over to a new coaching style, which I mean, I didn't think they should have switched the
If we're
defense
just talking about last year, I could agree with you, but it has been a pattern. With that Dallas defense. I cannot give them a slide on that.
Can't give them a slide. All right, well, let's move on to the next person then. Former partner of Carson Wentz in Philadelphia, we got Zach Ertz. He's 30 years old right now. Obviously, we don't know, but we hope that the Jalen Hurts era begins in Philadelphia. Will he be cut or traded?
I think they'll probably try to find a way to see if he wants to retire.
Ertz? Really?
Yeah. I think they'll probably want that. Because the problem is, let's say he decides to move on, and let's say he decides to go to a team that rivals the Eagles.
And that could be any of them.
Going southbound on the 95.
Yikes.
To the Washington
football
team.
There it is.
That's what I see potentially happening. So I
feel like they always go to Washington.
To try to do that, they'll probably trade him before they cut him.
I can understand that. I would do the same thing.
Be a great get for the football team.
And even if you get like a fourth round pick, fifth round pick, because he's 30 now. So although he has great,
they could probably get a fourth round pick out of him.
Yeah, fourth round pick.
Good. He still is a big threat in the red zone.
Right.
And
here's one. Yeah. So here's one that I know you probably would want me to answer, but I want to hear your particular, I guess your opinion first.
Okay.
And that's Tampa Bay Buccaneers tight end O.J. Howard.
I don't think this is a good move.
Trading or cutting.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. O.J. Howard, coming out of Alabama, probably one of the great receivers that they've had. Tight end receiver.
Okay, I was what?
And the reason why I say receiver is because his blocking is that of an average receiver rather than that of a tight end.
I can agree with that.
He struggled mightily for as a tight end blocking. And then, of course, he's been hurt 2 out of the last 4 years. So I would say I could see them letting him go, but I know also that there are some people, obviously Gronk, being one, which actually yesterday, I think I had a dream that Gronk was on another team. It was actually pretty funny.
Robert.
Yeah.
Rob
I was like, wait.
To the safe confirmed by Doc.
No, it was like the Cardinals or another team. Like it was a weird team. But yeah, OJ would be great, obviously, to have, but that $6 million guaranteed contract could make them keep him because they don't want the dead money. But I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, I think that one's a wait and see.
Okay, 2 New England Patriots back to back. Yeah. The formerly mentioned I want to trade N'Keal Harry.
Au revoir.
Now, he does have a shoulder injury, so people might be more,
Au revoir.
Uh-oh. Okay, so he's gone.
Yeah.
How about Stephon Gilmore, who's also on the PUP list?
I don't think they'll get rid of Stephon Gilmore. Bill Belichick likes his defensive players versus offensive players.
I agree.
If you really think about it, like he's way quicker to pull triggers to get rid of receivers,
offensive players. And I said that.
And you did say that.
I did say that.
Rid of defensive players, unless they give them a reason to do so.
I get it. This
is the same coach who won't talk to you, but like if you want to have a defensive conversation or you want to talk about like Lawrence Taylor or something like that, like you have his attention. Like he loves defense.
No, definitely. I agree wholeheartedly. So moving on here. So those are the notable, like the super notable people, I guess the big names. Probably hold off on some of the small names to
I'm
see.
so sorry, Shadow. I know N'Keal Harry is one of your favorite players for the EFL, but he's gone.
Which I considered it. I considered bringing the EFL back yesterday. I turned on Madden for all of maybe 20 minutes.
Yes. That was 20 minutes too many.
Yeah, I saw some great potential. The passing, although it's better, it still leaves some to desire, I would say, because like the interceptions are more fluid. I will say the defensive backs are better, but I'm curious to see how it's going to work with the 75 and under, as we did, as people know the EFL is based on. But speaking of an EFL quarterback, actually, two quarterbacks in the EFL. Teddy Bridgewater winning the Broncos job over Drew Lock. I'm not surprised, but it's sad because I think Drew Lock got a bad shot. I know he had some injuries last season. Obviously, he had a lot of.
I feel like anyone who was injured last season should get a bye.
Yeah, like
if we're gonna be honest
but then again, I mean, Vic Fangio, I don't believe that Drew Lock was his guy.
No.
And I mean, Teddy B has always been a reliable starter.
Drew Lock didn't get a fair shake. And the fact they brought in Teddy Bridgewater, it was Drew Lock's position to lose. It wasn't Teddy Bridgewater's position to win.
And Teddy Bridgewater really, really balls out. He balled out in New Orleans. He balled out in Carolina. Obviously, injuries. Obviously, injuries, and then Drew Brees coming back, kind of slowed that up. But hey, he's happy to get an opportunity. We'll see if they hold on to Drew Lock. Like maybe it's development. Do they trade him? What do they do here, right? Because I mean, I'm sure there's a team like the Washington football team who would love to have him start learning under a savvy traveling veteran.
I can agree with that.
But I don't know. I feel like the Washington football team will probably let Heineken continue to grow and learn.
Absolutely.
Heineken. But moving on here, the Packers place Devin Funchess on the injury reserve for the season. I know we talked about this earlier. He's out again for the entire season. This makes the second season in a row for Funchess, which is very unfortunate. He could agree on an injury settlement, which would allow him to sign elsewhere. Looks like it's mostly a hamstring injury. And then, of course, 2019, it was a collarbone. So, and he opted out in 2020 for COVID. So, yeah, they could agree on a injury settlement, allowing him to go and sign with a different team. I know we always talk about the Packers and their weapons. Funchess, obviously, is a pretty good weapon, but I'm not 100% sure if his time in Green Bay will be over or not. But he did hurt himself in a joint practice with the New York Football Jets, and he hasn't participated in any activities since. So, Devin Funchess, IR, once again. Moving on here, NFL trade from the Panthers. The Panthers trade Denzel Perryman, linebacker, to the Raiders for a 6th-round pick. This comes days after those same Raiders inquired about Khalil Mack, the same person. Oh, my goodness. The same person that they traded and said that he wasn't a Gruden grinder and all this other crap. Let me tell you something. I would never
Actually,
let
that
that.
began the Good and Grinder meme.
It did, and remember, it was so ridiculous because it was like, hey, let's trade Khalil Mack, and then 2 weeks later, man, we need a pass rusher. How ridiculous! Come on, Gruden. Come on, Mayock. You should have never made that deal. I don't care what Khalil Mack wants. You give it to him.
You give it to him. Are you
Yes.
insane?
Are you insane? Unbelievable, but it happened, and it is what it is. So yesterday, Johnny,
Mhm.
we announced that Luke Wilson, tight end, signed with the Seattle Seahawks, which I said, man, why don't they just make him a lifer? Well, that's exactly what happened. He actually announced his retirement as well as the Seahawks announced their release just one day after signing him. So technically, he does retire a Seahawk, which he should. He should. Even though his numbers aren't huge, I feel like the 111 receptions and the 11 touchdowns that he scored over 8 seasons were all huge. I felt like his ability to score and catch passes at the exact right time was exactly what Russell Wilson
There you go.
needed at that time. Lastly, I wanted to bring something to your attention. I read it yesterday.
Okay.
It's something that we've been talking about for obviously 2 years, and that's COVID-19 protocols. And I don't know if this is going to be one of the hot takes of media, but I figured we would talk about it because I found it to be interesting, and I applaud what Bruce Arians is doing, but I wonder if players are going to have an issue. So Bruce Arians is saying, I understand the NFL COVID-19 protocols, but guess what? I'm going to have my own COVID protocol. So he don't want to take no chances. So he's saying, vaccinated or unvaccinated, if you play on this team, you will not be allowed to leave the team hotel or have family visits during road trips. Now, this comes back to our kicker, Ryan Suckup, who had a great season last year. He was within the NFL and the Players Association protocol as he's a fully vaccinated player. He tested positive for COVID-19 following a dinner he had with members of the Tennessee Titans, which is Ryan's former team.
Now, that's not to state that he got it from a
Tennessee Titan
on the
right.
Titans.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like some context needs to be added there because that
sure, but I mean, and obviously, Nick Shook, who wrote this article for NFL.com,
well, he needs to be shook up for leaving detailed information like that out of it.
Right. He stopped right there. He goes right into it. NFL rules currently state that a fully vaccinated player is permitted to interact with vaccinated family and friends during road trips. But under Arians' rule, Suckup and every Buccaneer will not be permitted to do such events during the season. He said, for us, life, which this is the part. It's not just for us. It should be for everybody.
Of course.
Life, this part right here, life is not normal. Life is not normal. He said we're under much of the same protocols as last year just because that's the way it is, especially living here in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
With Tennessee coming in and going out to dinner, they found out the hallway, and so did Ryan, is what he said. We can only tell them so much. We get 53 people, right? Even this weekend, our guys are going to make a bunch of sacrifices that you have to make now. Families at the hotel, all of those things are out of the window, which makes sense. You want to keep your player safe. You want to keep yourself. You want to keep yourself safe.
I mean,
You know what I'm saying?
This unfortunately goes beyond the game of football. Like, yes, he wants to
Right.
do this to make sure that he maximizes the percentage of success that the Buccaneers can have for this upcoming season, but at the same
Right.
time, like, and we talked about this earlier this week, people who have just gotten lazy.
True.
People
Very
are
true.
going to restaurants now. People are going to the beach. They're getting on airplanes. They're going on trips. They're doing all these things in rapid succession.
Rapid succession.
No isolation afterwards.
None. I agree.
So even if you are fully vaccinated,
still got to take precautionary
and we cannot
measures.
confirm or deny Doc and Prof are fully vaccinated because we're not going to get onto that issue.
We're not.
You will still catch the COVID.
Facts, which some people learn the hard way. Even though I go out to like practice and I go out to do different things, number one, we're out in a pretty big area, pretty big space. Number two, I still think for the most part we stay pretty far apart from each other.
Yes.
Except for obviously where we're going over offense, you actually have the quarterback, you got the center, like, you know what I'm saying? But luckily there's no Drew Breeses out there licking their hands or any of that kind of stuff, right?
I could think of Steve Nash doing that.
Right. You can't do that anymore. But other than that, we're all good. But I mean, I was just curious what you thought on it. I mean, I found it to be interesting that a lot of the coaches haven't been implementing those rules. And I understand they're trying to win another Super Bowl. And as long as, and we've seen this with the NBA, right? As long as you don't have superstars bending and breaking the rules, right? So you can't say, hey, Ryan Suckup, don't you dare go out with those Tennessee Titan players. But then all of a sudden there's a picture of LeBron, right? LeBron James of NFL, right? You got Tom Brady, right? Out there, playing golf or something crazy like that. You know what I'm saying? So you can't have that, right? So everybody has to follow the same rules. So I don't want to see Giselle in the hotel.
Here's that's funny actually. Baller.
You're right.
I think I said this last year. It takes a major superstar getting it for the NFL to crack down harder.
Right.
Because I personally think they did a great job last season. For the most part.
Yeah. No, they did. They did a good job.
For them to just come into the season doing that, the NBA, I think, probably did it better with the bubble. But I don't see the NFL having a bubble type of environment. No. Like, it's kind of hard for them to do that.
It is. It's too many. Yeah, it would need
way too many factors. Like, that's a ticking time bomb, unfortunately.
Yeah, they would need like 8 cities. And that would be crazy. Yeah.
I mean, but it's not impossible or impossible.
No, it's not. I mean, you think about it. Florida, Texas, New York. Like, think about some of the teams.
Florida.
Well, now the only reason I say Florida is obviously because they have multiple teams. Dallas, right? Texas has multiple teams. New York has multiple teams. And New York is a good spot for the NFC East as a whole.
Of course.
Right.
Because outside of the Cowboys.
Right.
The entire
everybody
NFC
is right
East
there.
In the Northeast.
Exactly. And then if necessary, the Ravens could play.
The Washington football team are mid-Atlantic, but
if I get it.
Technical.
Well, think about it though, but teams could easily take a drive to New York, right, to play in New Jersey. You got the Ravens, the football team, the Giants, the Jets, the Eagles. It's a whole bunch of teams right there.
Steelers.
Right. So
like most of the AFC North, if we're going to be honest about it.
Right. So it would be a pretty
AFC North.
It would just, I guess it would just be dependent on the schedule and how it worked. But I mean, that's neither here nor there. Hopefully we don't have to get to that point and we can, keep it open and people just protect themselves. The last thing I saw here was, I guess, some controversy in the recruiting ranks of NCAA basketball as number 4 overall prospect for this year. 5-star small forward Imani Bates has decommitted from Tom Izzo and the Spartans and is joining Penny Hardaway and going to Memphis. It was funny yesterday. There was a quick tweet that said, "Don't worry, you don't have to worry. I'm going to let you all know tomorrow. There won't be no speculation. There won't be nothing leaked. You're going to hear it from me mañana," which is today. And he said, "You know what? I'm going to Memphis." So the number 4 prospect, which is great for Penny, because I don't think too many top 10 prospects were choosing Memphis. Obviously, we had the Wiseman situation that happened in Memphis.
That's the notoriety of
Right.
Penny Hardaway's
Of Penny Hardaway. Yes. And then you add on, right? We talked about Rashid going, right? Yeah, you add on that. So I think that's pretty interesting. Wonder how much that had something to do with, but Imani Bates choosing Memphis over Michigan State, which I get.
And the last small thing, we're going to offer our condolences to Loyola College legend Jerry Harkness, who passed away at the age of 81 yesterday.
Definitely. Definitely our condolences. Quick second here. But I know you heard this podcast on your favorite podcast platform. But if you didn't, you can always go to our website at www.debateamongstfriends.com to listen to this episode as well as all of our previous. Be sure to tune in Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as Doc and Prof deliver you the news, the analysis, and the reads.
Perfect.